past, not many people probably would have considered a diesel engine when buying a small car. The first things that popped into my head when I thought of diesel were trucks, tractors, some 7-ton monster. Put simply, something huge, slow, and no fun to drive. But this is not quite the case anymore because diesel technology has come a very long way in the last 5 years. Introducing hot off the production lines, the new generation Mazda3. Diesel. The Mazda3 is one of Australia's best-selling cars amongst you, the Aussie buyer, and there are many reasons for that. In Japan, they have designing cars down to a fine art. Inside, there are no excess frilly bits, there are no wastes of space, there's no big gaps or bulky shapes, everything has a purpose. And you still get that Mazda feeling of really being a part of the car. We've been lucky enough to have been granted access to some private property which will allow us to put this little pocket rocket through its paces. Okay, DSC is off and let's throw it around these bends here. Ripper. That suspension setup, nice. One quick response. Oh, acceleration as soon as I put my foot down is incredible. Woo. It has all the mod cons, from air conditioning to a 6-disc CD player with MP3 capabilities, a place for your iPod, satellite navigation, the steering wheel and the gear shift are all leather wrapped for that sports feel. The steering wheel's adjustable, the seat's adjustable to help you find that perfect driving position. Then there's the look of the Mazda3 diesel. Outside you've got the spoiler, the side skirts and the 16-inch alloy wheels all as standard. Inside, well, we've covered sat-nav, but there's the trip computer, you've got Bluetooth to keep you hands-free and find-free, there's also cruise control, and all of these things are operated by wheel-mounted switches for easy use. Let's talk about performance for a second. This car will do 0 to 100 in just 9.2 seconds. Now that's not bad for a small car that's stock standard. It'll also produce about 360 Newton meters of torque in the rev range of 1800 to 2600 RPM, which is where we do most of our driving, so you've got a lot of power and right where you need it. Then with diesel engines comes fuel economy. On an average drive, it'll only consume 5.7 litres of fuel for every 100 kilometres, and that's with your everyday driving. Yet on the open roads, it will only need 5 litres of fuel for every 100 kilometres. So that's 1100 K out of one fuel tank. So let's say you were living in Perth. It'll get you to Coral Bay. It'll nearly get you into South Australia. What about if you were in Darwin? It would get you to Ord River or to Tennant Creek. From Adelaide, it'll get you to Canberra or even nearly into the Northern Territory. From Melbourne, it'll take you all the way to Port Augusta or even to Newcastle. From Brisbane, you could go all the way to Wollongong or even nearly all the way up to Bowen. And if you're in Tasmania, well, you might as well just do laps. Then there's the practicality. Everything is laid out inside this car in an extremely clever way. It's so user-friendly, which means you won't need to study a manual for 3 hours just to be able to have some fun. Yes, it is a small car. That means it's easy to park in every location, but don't let the size fool you. It still feels incredibly big inside. There's still room for the luggage, the golf clubs, and the beach gear. And now with the diesel engine, you also get all that added extra performance stuff too. Not only is the Mazda3 fun to drive and cheap to run, but they've also loaded it with safety features. It comes with airbags, ABS, dynamic stability control, and emergency brake assist, just to name a few. And they've been able to do this without weighing the car down or adding any bulky shapes. So, the technology's all there, the styling is there, the performance is there, and the practicality, well, that's also there. Now about the only thing that's missing is someone to drive it, because that's about all it can't do on its own.